In this video I'll be explaining the reports tab down here. First things first, if you actually want to have some useful information in the reports tab, you need to do some research in the bureaucracy tab. Click it and you'll see who you'll need. First of all, you're obviously going to need a warden, so just make an office, hire him, make sure all the stuff is in, and then hire the warden. You want to research finance, psychology, prison policy, and micromanagement. Once those are finished, you want to get to 2 more offices for your psychologist and for your accountant. And then you pretty much have the whole reports tab unlocked. Let's go from top to bottom. At the top, you have staff. Here's just everyone who works in your prison. They are separated in certain categories. Workers, obviously, they work, they build your stuff. The guards, obviously, they protects you from any harm being done in your prison. Here will be the regular guards, the dog handlers, and the armed guards. Also snipers if you choose to get those. Here's all the other stuff. For example, cooks, janitors, farmers if you have that unlocked. Those guys. And then at the bottom the administrators, which are pretty much just the bureaucracy guys. The warden, security, finance, all of these guys. Next up is the prisoners tab. Here is obviously going to be your prisoners in every security category. There will just be the amount and then they will all be shown below it. Then there's the intake tab. You can choose to set this to whatever you want. If you only want medium security, obviously going to only open medium security. The higher you put this to the right, the more you're going to intake. So let's say I do this from minimum security and this from medium, and I put it to like total prisoners of 9. It's going to be 1 minimum and 8 medium security. Now there's also these different options. Obviously closed means the prison will be closed. Fill capacity means you'll fill the capacity of your prison in each security level. Total prisoners means, say I want 5 prisoners in my prison, I can make sure that it always refills up to 5. Number per day just means, let's say I want 2 a day, it just brings 2 prisoners a day in, and all available means literally every single prisoner available from everything you've clicked. My favorite intake option first off would be total prisoners, and sometimes I do number per day. I never really do fill capacity as it's less control, it fills your entire prison up, and maybe you don't want that quite yet. Next up, jobs. Here will be everything that needs to happen in your prison. Say I start building a power station right there, it's gonna show install power station queued. I am quite positive that it also shows your prisoners jobs in here, so this is usually quite a filled up tab. Next up, needs. Here will be your prisoner needs. Here are the different need keys. Critical is just dark red. You need to just get it done, otherwise they're gonna be really mad. High means not quite as high as it can be, but definitely do something about it. Medium, acceptable. Satisfied is just they've done it, they're happy about it. And active is when there's a blue bar filling up. Let's say it's high, up to here. The blue bar will fill and it's just gonna be prisoners doing what they need to do. In the regime, I've put my favorite regime. A lot of work, bit of free time. A shower at the beginning, because if you don't put this here, they may not shower and they're just gonna be moaning about not having showered when they just didn't choose to. Next up, the policy tab. I've set up a minimum security tab. I like to just do it like this. The beginning one is something like this. I just like to fill all of these in, put a bit longer solitary for murder, and I just like to match everything with that. It's quite simply done by clicking the security tab, match with whatever you want it to match with, and then click it. Really simple. Here's also your nutritional policy. If you want to do a cheaper meal, you're going to put it to low. If you want to do a more expensive one, you're going to put it to high. Here's your parole cutoff. It's pretty much just when they can parole. Easy as that. Here's for if you have farming unlocked, I'm not going to go into that. And here's the visitation policy, how long the visitors can stay for, pretty much. Here's grants, quite a necessary tab, as you're going to be getting a lot of money from it. Just click the grant you want to do, and it's just going to give you, if there's an advance payment, it's going to give you that. If there's not, it's just going to be the completion bonus. Next up is programs. Here you can start and stop programs. Every program, except for parole, costs money. This will keep your prisoners satisfied as they need a reform, which is the next tab. Score. If they get a high score, it's just going to mean that there's a better satisfaction factor for that certain grade. Punishment just is how you're punishing them, if you're punishing them at all, and how well. Reform is just when they do programs, so they have a better chance of reforming, so they don't actually come back to a prison. If you give them a job, this will just go up. If you have Decreased harm, it's just going to be higher. If there's a lot of harm being done, it's going to be lower. Health just means if there's a lot of prisoners dying, it's going to be very low. And here just can sort by a lot of things. It'll be your prisoners and they'll show once you actually have prisoners. Here's the finance tab. You can also adjust prisoner wages here. Let's say you want more prisoners in your workshop, you're just going to put up the wage. If you want less prisoners in your library, you're just going to lower it. It's that simple. You can also increase and decrease them all by 10% really easily. It's going to start off like all 100%. I like to put workshop up because workshop is actually quite an important income source for me, usually. And the rest is usually just 100% unless I really need more cleaning. Then I'm just going to put up the cleaning cupboard. The rest in the finance tab is just what comes in, what goes out, money-wise. And also your exports, which is quite an interesting one. I'd say so. Valuation is literally just how much a prison is worth, minus starting grant, minus deaths and escapes. And it's just everything that's there. Bricks and mortar is literally just your buildings. Materials is your materials, staff, your staff. Prisoner capacity goes up 500 each prisoner you're able to take in. So let's say you have a capacity of 10, it's going to be 5,000. Cash is just how much money you have right now. Bank loans is if you're taking any bank loans. If you want to take a bank loan, go to grants, hit increase, and now that's going to show up. It's going to show up as a negative, obviously, because you don't want to be taking loans, because it's just going to be in you have to pay interest. And these are coverage plans. Not sure if these are in the base game. Let's say there's a lot of fires happening. You can tick this one on and you'll just pay a certain amount of money for them to come if anything happens. That was the entire tab. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to click here to learn more about the grants, which are quite important. And also for the planning, maybe you want to plan something out. Don't know how, click here.